Welcome back to Babel AI, a culture podcast where we explore the traditions, stories, and lifestyles that shape life here in Luxembourg. I'm your host, Jules, and today we're heading into nature, literally. We're talking about one of the most quietly powerful wellness rituals that can be found in the country: forest walks and nature immersion. Luxembourg may be tiny, but it has a surprisingly wild heart. Forests, rivers, mossy trails, and green corners are everywhere. And for generations, people have been stepping into these natural spaces to reset, reconnect, and recharge. Today, we're taking a slow walk through this tradition: why it matters, how locals experience it, and what makes it uniquely Luxembourgish. When most people picture Luxembourg, they imagine the big postcard moments: Vianden Castle standing dramatically on a hill, the shiny architecture of Kirchberg, or the European institutions bustling with activity. But behind that modern image is a landscape that feels ancient, steady, and deeply rooted in nature. More than 30% of Luxembourg is covered in forest. That means dense evergreen stretches in the north, lush groves around the Moselle, and the almost fairy tale-like rock formations of Müllertal. And here's the interesting thing: these forests are not just pretty backdrops. They're cultural spaces, woven into the rhythms of everyday life. Locals have a simple phrase for going out into the woods: spazeren aan de Besch, walking in the forest. But the phrase doesn't really capture what it feels like. It's not exercise, it's not a chore, and it's not even a planned wellness routine. It's a ritual of presence, a slow, grounding way to step away from the pace of daily life. A typical Luxembourgish forest walk begins with something very simple: stepping off the street and onto a trail. Maybe it's a narrow footpath covered in soft leaves, or a wide, well-tended route that families use on weekends. The moment your feet hit the trail, the world shifts a little. The pace naturally slows down. You move deliberately, not rushing, not trying to burn calories or hit a step goal. It's about being there, in the moment. Listeners, picture it: the crunch of leaves under your shoes, sunlight breaking through tall oaks and beeches, a soft breeze stirring through the branches, birdsong echoing through the canopy. The cool smell of earth, pine, and moss, fresh, clean, quiet. It's simple, but it has this calming effect that sneaks up on you. Honestly, I've gone on short walks here, like 15 minutes, and come back feeling like I accidentally went to therapy. Luxembourg's forests are basically a wellness center disguised as a public space. What really makes this tradition beautiful is how it shifts with the seasons. In spring, the forests look and feel like a new beginning. Bright green buds everywhere, wildflowers showing up like tiny confetti. The air smells fresh and sweet, and locals love spotting early mushrooms or the first birds returning. Summer is a completely different vibe. The forests become shaded sanctuaries, cool and inviting. Families picnic under tall trees. Kids run between moss-covered rocks. People escape the city heat and wander through quiet, leafy trails. Autumn is the dramatic season. Everything turns gold, red, orange. The ground becomes a carpet of leaves, and the sound of your footsteps becomes this soft, rhythmic crunch. People walk simply to soak in the colors. Then winter arrives and the forests transform again. Snow settles on branches. Everything becomes soft and quiet. The cold air wakes you up in the best way. Some hardy walkers even make a whole outing of it, finishing the walk with hot chocolate at a nearby cafe, cheeks red from the cold but spirits high. Walking in the forest here isn't just a solo activity. It's extremely social. Families walk together to catch up, unwind, or just enjoy being outdoors. Parents teach kids to notice things: the smell of pine, the shape of leaves, the tracks of animals in the snow. Friends use forest walks as their version of "let's grab coffee." You talk, you laugh, you walk slowly, and somehow conversations feel better in nature. Communities organize guided walks too. Sometimes a local historian takes a group through the woods to explain the old trails or share stories about ancient stone bridges. Other times, a biologist leads a walk to point out rare plants or birds. It's wellness mixed with curiosity and culture. What's fascinating is that people don't call this mindfulness. even though it is mindfulness in its purest form. Most of them practice presence without naming it. They pay attention to their senses. They slow down. They breathe deeply. They let thoughts float around without gripping them too tightly. There's no app, no breathing exercise, no rules. It's just walking, but done with intention and done often. And of course, science has jumped in to confirm what people here have always intuitively known. Spending time in forests lowers stress hormones, improves mood, sharpens focus, reduces blood pressure, and boosts mental health in a measurable way. It's funny, someone once told me that Luxembourg is filled with free spas. They're just camouflaged as forests. What makes this ritual even more powerful is how effortlessly it fits into daily life. A quick lunchtime walk in a park, a weekend hike through Mouletol's rock corridors, a short morning stroll before work, an after-dinner walk with the whole family. You don't need a plan or special shoes or a whole day. You just go. And because it's so simple and accessible, people do it consistently, not once in a while. Often, it becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. It becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. Let me share a couple of small stories that show how deeply rooted this tradition is. There's a man in Ettelbruck who has walked the same forest path every morning for about 40 years. Rain, frost, heat wave, he goes. He says it's his way of resetting his mind before the day starts. He's watched trees grow along that path like old friends. I once met a family near Mouletol who have a Sunday walk tradition. No matter the weather, they go for a long walk together. Even their dog knows exactly when it's time to leave the house. They've done it so long that the forest feels like another family member. And many Luxembourgers have childhood memories of climbing trees, building forts out of branches, and running through rock formations that look like something from a fantasy film. These aren't just forests, they're memory keepers. So what can we learn from this quiet but powerful tradition? We can learn to slow down, intentionally, to let nature reset us, even briefly, to share walks with people we care about because connection deepens in calm places, to follow the natural rhythm of the seasons, and to be present without forcing it or overthinking it. Many Luxembourg's approach to wellness thus appears simple, steady, and deeply human. It reminds us that well-being doesn't have to be loud or expensive or complicated. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is take a slow walk through the forest. Thank you for joining me today on this calming journey through Luxembourg's forest rituals. I hope it inspires you to step outside, even for a moment, and notice the trees, the air, and the tiny details we tend to overlook. A short walk can be more restorative than you expect, and maybe, just maybe, it becomes your new ritual. I'm Jules, and this is Babel AI. Take care, breathe deeply, and I'll see you in the next episode.